The commitment. Is this man committed to the organization?
Signs point to Aaron Rodgers not being back in New York, though winds up moving on and going elsewhere. He also has to decide whether or not he even wants to play.
This past season was an unmitigated disaster for the New York Jets, but they went into the offseason making plenty of changes, moving on from their general manager in the middle of the season and also hiring former New York Jets legend Aaron Glenn. But there's a huge question of who was going to be their quarterback under center. Were they going to bring Aaron Rodgers back, or were they going to cut him loose as well? Well, on Super Bowl Sunday, we officially got our answer. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to get the latest NFL news to your device. And now that we get all that out of the way, today's video is sponsored by Prize Picks. They're running a Super Bowl free square for Patrick Mahomes. Lately, I've been doing really well with my picks. I've been averaging at minimum a pick a day, and I've been making my followers a lot of money. I pretty much discovered that if you run 4-man power plays and you hit at least 1 out of every 10 4-man power plays, you 10x your money. So you break even if you hit 1 out of every 10 of your power plays, meaning you only need to hit 2 out of every 10 of your power plays to make money. So far, I've been averaging about 4 out of every 10 of my power plays hitting, and my results speak for itself. People have been hitting me up in my DMs thanking me as well. If you want to give it a shot, I give away my picks on Instagram at @TheFlightMike. And if you haven't signed up for Prize Picks, make sure you use my promo code Mikerophone to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mike Chuck 1212. What's going on, everybody? Just based off of the way the New York Jets were built over the past couple of seasons, it was blatantly clear that they were just a quarterback away from contention. I mean, they had one of the league's best defenses. They had stars on the offensive side of the ball in the form of Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and on the defensive side of the ball in the form of Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. They had one of the best defensive minds in football coaching them. The only problem was Zach Wilson taking a while to fulfill his potential. So the Raiders were very aggressive in trading for Aaron Rodgers. And in his first season with the team, he would tear his Achilles tendon just 4 games into his career. What pursued was a circus around Aaron Rodgers trying to be the fastest player to ever come back from an Achilles tear, but ultimately he would not succeed at that. In the offseason, the New York Jets were more aggressive than ever in making sure that they protect their Hall of Fame QB. And a huge theme of this was making sure that their offensive line was rebuilt. I mean, they traded for Morgan Moses, they signed John Simpson, they also signed Tyron Smith, then on top of that, they passed on Brock Bowers to select Ollie Fashanu out of Penn State. The theme was to make sure that we don't get a repeat of last year in that Aaron Rodgers was fully protected. But they went above and beyond. They signed Mike Williams to a 1-year contract to add more versatility to the offense. And in the case that Aaron Rodgers were to get injured again, they agreed to a 2-year contract with Tyrod Taylor. I mean, you could not have had a better offseason than the New York Jets, but it seemed like the same amount of effort wasn't really being given back to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers would miss mandatory minicamp so he could take a trip to Egypt.
Another term for the caterpillar. It's really the caterpillar the entire time. And caterpillar opens his wings and just cannot believe this is my life now. I get to fly around. I get to smell flowers and eat flowers.
I personally thought this was very surprising considering how he had to build a rapport with Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams and this New York Jets offense. And when the regular season started, things would go from sketchy to just downright bad. The Jets would start their season off with a losing record, and some of these losses were clearly due to a lack of preparation and team chemistry. The Jets would fire Robert Saleh between all of this. There was a game versus the Buffalo Bills where Aaron Rodgers missed Mike Williams and then pointed the blame finger at him as opposed to holding himself accountable.
2 verticals, you know. Allen's down the seam, Mike's down the red line. So I'm looking at Allen, he puts his hand up, 3 guys go with him, so I'm throwing a no look to the red line. And when I just peek my eyes back there, he's running an in-breaker. So it's got to be down the red line.
So the Jets would continue to try to make quick fixes. Originally, they fired Robert Saleh. The next thing they did was trade for Davante Adams, which on paper gave the Jets one of the best offenses in the NFL. But ultimately, it wouldn't really work out. That's a brand new wide receiver you have to integrate onto your offense, and a brand new head coach that was just elevated from defensive coordinator. The result was the Jets got worse and worse. Their defense got worse. Aaron Rodgers clearly looked like a shell of his former self, whether that's because the Jets didn't really have a coherent offensive game plan, or the fact that his torn Achilles was really wearing him down. It could really be either, and I'm sure at this point we're still trying to figure that out. Throughout the season, Garrett Wilson seemed very frustrated. I mean, when Garrett Wilson was asked if he wanted to be here for the foreseeable future, he said this.
If the Jets approach you about a contract extension, would you like to stay here long term?
I don't know, man. I just figure I just do whatever, whatever, go about my day, however, figure my feet at.
And honestly, when you just take a look at some of the routes that Garrett Wilson was able to run and the fact that he was getting missed by Aaron Rodgers, I can't really say I blame him. The Jets would also fire their general manager in the regular season, which I didn't really think was necessary. So the Jets would finish the season with a 5-12 record. And going into the offseason, there were a lot of questions about their future. Who was going to be the next head coach for the New York Jets? Well, that was answered very quickly. They chose Aaron Glenn, and I honestly think this was a fantastic hire for the Jets, as Aaron Glenn brings a specific personality that the Jets could really use.
Will Aaron Rodgers be your quarterback?
You're going to continue to ask me the same question and get the same answer. We're still in evaluation mode. So for anybody else going to ask that, I'm going to give you the same answer. So don't waste your time. We're clear.
Well, let's answer that. What do you look for in a quarterback? Like, what's an Aaron Glenn quarterback?
A winner. A winner. Mental and physical toughness. When you talk about that, you're not going to get me.
Well, let me ask you this. Parcells over, I know you guys are close. He always
That's
said...
Parcells. Okay. I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay, so you don't...
That's Parcells. I'm Aaron Glenn.
Okay.
New York Jets have plenty of talent on defense, so having a head coach that could harness this potential is very crucial for their success. But what about their quarterback? The Jets still have Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Davante Adams, and Garrett Wilson offensively. This is a team that is a Super Bowl contender if they have the right guidance and if they have the right QB. Well, it seems like we know the answer to this. And in something that was very, very surprising, on Sunday morning, Jordan Schultz told us, so when we woke up on Sunday morning, we got some breaking news. According to Jordan Schultz, while further discussions are expected, the overwhelming belief is that the Jets are unlikely to move forward with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback in 2025. With a new regime in place, many anticipate a fresh start, and a resolution is expected sooner rather than later. And believe me, this resolution came really, really soon. As according to Jay Glazer, Aaron Rodgers flew back to New Jersey last week to meet with the Jets about his future with the team, only to be told that the team was moving on from him. If that means that he'll be a June 1st designation, that allows him to sign with any team in the league on March 12th if he decides to continue to play. Given that Aaron made the effort to fly back to discuss his future, all signs point to him continuing to play. It just won't be for the Jets. So this is very surprising, and Adam Schefter goes out of his way to confirm this. The Jets are expected to move on from Aaron Rodgers. Now, what's interesting is, according to Jordan Schultz, Aaron Rodgers has already been told that his time with the Jets are over, and that the new regime met with him and told him that they are going in a different direction. Aaron Rodgers will be a free agent once the Jets release him. Now, it's really interesting that the Jets would decide to do this, because it's not like there's a lot of great options this offseason for a brand new quarterback. I mean, unless if they're planning a huge trade to jump up to the top 3 picks in the NFL draft, make a big play for Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, or maybe there's a quarterback later on in the first round that they like. Maybe they really like Jalen Milroe. Unless if they want to bring back Sam Darnold or try to sign Kirk Cousins, I really don't see a better option than Aaron Rodgers at this point. And I really felt like there just needed to be some continuity in order to have some success. I know there are moments where Rodgers just looked absolutely cooked this year, so a lot of fans are wondering if there isn't really that much of a better option available, and it's clear why there wasn't that much success with Rodgers. Then why would Brick Johnson decide to release him? Well, apparently it's all about the money. According to Jordan Schultz, the Jets moving on from Aaron Rodgers wasn't necessarily about his play, it was more so about his contract and the significant dead money that would remain whenever they eventually parted ways. New general manager Darren Muge and head coach Aaron Glenn want to take the hit now and start fresh. It's kind of a shame because you have all of this talent and it's not getting paid very much around Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Garrett Wilson's on a rookie scale contract. Quentin Williams is on a pretty good contract for what he brings to the table as well. Sauce Gardner is still on a rookie scale contract. Breece Hall is still on a rookie scale contract. I mean, you're not paying anyone significant money. So it doesn't really make sense why they're so concerned about the cap at this point. But then again, Brick Johnson could just be new to being a general manager and he doesn't really know any better. Now, with all this in consideration, when you take a look at the cap, it's not that bad. I mean, the Jets will keep his $23.5 million cap hit on the books into June and then take dead cap hits of $14 million and $35 million if there's a post-June 1st designation. Rodgers will be free to sign elsewhere on March 12th once the designation is made by New York. So this brings us to the question of what will Davante Adams do? This seems to be like a recurring theme in Davante Adams' career, right? At this point, Davante always goes to a new team, reunites with one of his buddies, whether it's Derek Carr on Las Vegas or Aaron Rodgers in New York, only for the quarterback to be out within a season. I mean, at this point, I'm terrified of throwing the football to Davante Adams. But jokes aside, Davante Adams is still a very talented wide receiver, but he already kind of gave us an idea of where he wants to go to next. Davante Adams left his 2025 contract unchanged, and his $38.3 million cap number is untenable. He'd have to agree to a new deal to stay, and with Aaron Rodgers moving on, Adams likely will as well. Adams would like to be on the West Coast, I'm told. Hey, Jim Harbaugh! Hi, please sign me! Is pretty much what Davante Adams is saying. I mean, there's so many teams that could use a wide receiver. You put Davante Adams on the Chargers and have him team up with Justin Herbert, and man, that's going to make for a Super Bowl contender. I mean, that's honestly the only thing the Chargers are missing at this point. So this is something we're going to keep an eye on because while Davante Adams' future is very, very easy to determine, Aaron Rodgers' future once again is uncertain. I mean, when you take a look at what teams he could really go to, the most QB needy teams are, I don't know, the Tennessee Titans, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Indianapolis Colts, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, these aren't really Super Bowl contenders. So it really depends how much Aaron Rodgers wants to play. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this news? If you guys haven't heard, Joe Burrow is completely delusional about his state in the NFL. And we're going to have a Super Bowl recap coming to you guys later. I'll leave both of those videos in the end screen. And I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.